Gardens, and we just wanted to give you a little tutorial on how to make a bouquet. Obviously, not everybody has the ability to come out and pick flowers in their own yard, but if you do, we want to start there and just kind of show you how to cut flowers and how to, kind of prep them for a bouquet. And then also, we're going to go in the house, and I've also bought the kinds that you can get at the grocery store in like the little bundles, and I'll show you how to make a bouquet that way as well. So we're going to start here in the garden. I've already picked some, and these are zinnias. And obviously, since I'm outside, I can just tear these off and leave them as mulch, because you don't want these in the water because they will rot and make your water smell bad, and they don't really add to the bouquet anyway. They just take up space. And so as I'm going, I'm going to clean that kind of stuff up. I'm also going to pick some of these dahlias. So now they've kind of fallen over, and you can see that there's other buds coming below these flowers, and so I am going to show you how to do a short bouquet as well. So I am going to cut a couple of these. So if you don't care about the next flower down that's coming, then go ahead and cut it as long as you want for a taller bouquet. So I'm going to grab a couple of these, and then I also want to make sure and get some foliage. And so like filler, and at the store you would get things like ferns or baby's breath or like goldenrod, those kinds of things. There's things that look like that, but when you're cutting it out of your own garden, you can just take whatever foliage you think is pretty. This is sage, tricolor sage, and it's just a really beautiful green, and some of them have like yellow. So I'm just going to take some of these. I'm also going to grab one of the grape vines from behind it so that I can have like kind of that trailing look in a bouquet. And so anyway, I'm just going to cut some of these flowers, and I'm going to then go in the house, and we'll start on the next part of the video. Hi, it's Gabrielle and Isabel's filming, and we are from Be Wise Gardens and Be Wise Plant Society. And what we're talking about today is making your own garden bouquet. So whether you grow your own flowers, like we grow a lot of our own flowers, or you need to buy them at the grocery store in bundles, I just want to show you a couple of really easy techniques on how to make a good bouquet that will last and that you'll just feel really awesome about because you made it yourself. So one of the main problems with bouquets is if you don't have a vase like this that holds the flowers really tight, then they tend to like flop around if you have a low vase. And if you were a florist or you had florist supplies, you would use a special kind of florist tape and create a grid. I'm just going to show you how to do it with clear tape or white masking tape. Clear tape is a little more flexible. So you and the rim of this needs to be dry. And the advantage with the clear tape is you won't see it once the bouquet is in it. And so I'm just going to put that across there, and then I'm going to pinch it like that so that it's thin and the flowers don't stick to it, but it's still stuck on the edges of the, and I'm going to do, this is a pretty small hole, but I'm going to do, it'll turn out to be like 6 holes basically that you're going to put flowers in. And what that does is it keeps them where you put them, for one thing, and then it also keeps them from like flipping out if they're too short. Like, you know how sometimes when you're trimming things or whatever, and a flower will break off and it'll have a stem like this long. This is a great way to make a bouquet in a short thing. You can even do it in a coffee cup or a cereal bowl, anything like that that's short. So obviously you're going to start with, when you do this one, you're going to start with very short flowers. And I happen to have a couple that did exactly that. They're too short to put in a vase like this because they'll just fall out, or you won't even see them because they'll get hidden under everything. And so these I'm going to use in this. And I'm going to use, just the other really important thing is that with a garden bouquet, depending on the flowers that you grow and the colors that you grow, it can be every color. It can be monochromatic. You can pick 2 colors like pink and purple or white and purple. We grow a variety of pretty much every color, and I tend to be an every color kind of person. And so this one we're going to do is a multicolored bouquet because that's what I picked. So basically you're going to start, I'm sure that there are actual rules if you are a florist about, pick a lead and then do filler and then, that type of thing. And those are all true. So basically you want to start with something that has some structure first before you start pushing in things that are a little bit floppier. like this is eucalyptus we have, or this is oregano, and it's a little bit like more drapey. And so I'm gonna start with, these are obviously very stiff, and I'm gonna start, and usually you wanna work in odd numbers. So you wanna do like 3, 5, 7, that's very appealing to the eye, but you don't always wanna cut every single flower in your garden, especially if you only had, like this is a dahlia that we have, and there wasn't very many blooms on it, so I didn't want to cut them all, so I only picked 2 of them. But what I'm gonna do is offset these with something else that's a similar color. So this is called celosia, and it has all this beautiful foliage. I'm gonna pull some of it off just so that it doesn't crowd out other things, but you still get some of the green. And then I'm also going to trim this to be the right length, because I just want it to, you know, basically just kind of stand up in the middle. So now I have a basic structure for this bouquet, and it's a pretty small bouquet. So now all I'm gonna do is fill in with these bushier things so that it holds it all in place and you can transport it where you want it to go. So here I have a little tiny broken piece of oregano that I'm gonna poke in there. This is another one I'm gonna trim off. And I'm also gonna pull off this extra foliage. The reason you wanna do this is because the foliage rots in the water, and that's why you get those smelly bouquets. So make sure you get rid of all your extra foliage. And then another thing to remember is, you know how when you buy packets of flowers, they always have, or you get them from the florist and they have this little packet of preservative. This is basically sucrose, sugar. It's citric acid, which is a preservative, and there's a little bit of bleach in it. And that's what keeps the water from getting really dirty. Any bouquet, you want to change out your water every couple of days so that it does stay fresh. And, or at least add water to it if this is in there. So basically I'm loving this. I'm gonna cut a few more little pops of color. And now you're just kind of alternating. So I'm going, here I have the luxury of picking 3 of the same flower because I have multiples of this one. But I have this really prominent center flower with the celosia, a couple of these dahlias, 3 zinnias, a couple of things of the oregano. And then I have one more thing that I wanted to use, which is greenery, which again, at the store, you would get something else. This is just sage. And I have 2 different colors of sage. I have a tricolor and a purple, and I think with this one I want the brighter one. And so I'm just gonna pull off a little bit of these lower leaves, and I have a hole on this side. I'm going to poke that in there so it's nice and seated in there. And then on this one, I'm just gonna pull off like part of it so I can use this in another one. So I don't want it to be completely balanced. I kind of like things to be a little bit asymmetrical. And you got that. And put another one of those right here. Make sure everything is in the water. And there you go. There's a mini garden bouquet. So that was pretty easy, and you get to use some of the things that you've spent so much time growing, and you get to just be excited about all your flowers. And you don't need to get really, really fussy about it. It's a bouquet. It's gonna live for a few days. It's gonna bring you some joy. Like, don't get stressed about it. It's supposed to be fun. And so anyway, so I'm gonna move that to the side, and we will do a large garden bouquet. So I'm gonna start with a tall base. We don't need to do the tape on the top. It has water, it already has the preservative in it. And again, we're gonna kind of start with that same idea, where we pick some very strong center flowers. And again, this is gonna be a multicolored one, and see how this one's so much taller? I think I like that. So I'm gonna, once I'm starting to put stuff in here, I'm gonna push this to the center so that it's the tallest part, and we're gonna kind of do, you know, cascades down a little bit. But right now it has to lean. I'm gonna put 5 of these in here at different heights and totally different colors, because that's what I want to do. And next I'm going to pick a couple of other tall flowers. This one might be a little too tall, and I don't want them to be exactly the same height. I know this one's a little bit shorter, but I would rather it be a little bit shorter. And I'm not gonna cut this off because I actually wanted to use it to hold things up in there. So then we're gonna do that. And then I have some of these beautiful red dahlias. And again, that one's slightly shorter, so I'm gonna use that there. And I'm gonna put this one on the opposite side. And this one's quite a bit smaller, so that'll go like that. And another fun thing that I've really enjoyed with this year's growing is we have some flowers that have seed heads. And so these just bloomed, and this one's just blooming right now, but then these are the seed heads for this variety of geum. And I just love the variety and the texture that that gives to a bouquet. This I'm gonna use and poke in towards the end because it'll be something very interesting. So I'm just gonna keep alternating sides, alternating places, putting things back kind of where you want them. And I have some calendula in a cool pale, and these are very short, and so they're going to be down at the very bottom. See, that one's a little bit too long, so we're going to keep trimming that. I'm going to put 3 of these in, and then these are straw flowers, so they're actually crunchy, but they're not dead, which is really cool. This is one of my favorite flowers, and this is a shorter flower, so I'm going, and it has some different height, and this one's a little bit broken, so I'm going to put it down here so that the side of the base holds it up. Just keep poking. Bring those back to the middle again. And now this is where I get to decide, okay, do I actually even like this? Is this going in the direction I want it to go? And this is where you go, spin it around, and decide, okay, does it have a front? Is this for the center of a table? I'm deciding that this is the front. So then I'm going to start making the bouquet according to this already, the natural front that's happening. So I'm going to pull this straw flower out that I actually really like the texture of, and I'm going to move it around to what I'm deciding is the front. So if that is the front, then this one is too tall for me. And so now it's going to be a little bit of a hassle to pull it out, but so now I'm going to poke that back in, and you get more of a waterfall of flowers coming down this front. Not that the back isn't going to also be beautiful, but maybe this is, I'm going to put it as an entryway or something like that. I'm going to keep looking here at I have a bit of a hole back here, so I'm going to take care of that. And I have a couple of these fluttery cosmos that I really like. So I'm going to poke, actually I'm not going to put those in yet. I'm going to put those when I do these two. Next thing I'm going to do is the filler. Ooh, I have 1 stalk. So if you do have something that's like kind of stands out, again, that gets to be a focal point. So I'm going to put it right in the middle like that. How's that look? And now, oh, and we have, we brought a ladybug in from the garden. See her? She's like, what is going on? This is not my natural habitat. Nature. All right, so now I'm gonna put in this eucalyptus here, this eucalyptus here, and I have these 2 little baby eucalyptus that I'm actually gonna bring back and poke into this one because they will just fall out of the other one. And that actually adds exactly what I would want right there. That's awesome. Okay, and then I have a little bit more of the sage. And again, this is kind of a drapey one. So I'm gonna pull off a couple of these bottom stems, and I'm gonna put it right here in the front to kind of push up on those flowers there. And then I have a purple one that I'm going to put, you gotta pull back every once in a while and actually look at it because it could be going south on you. All right, I'm gonna put this right in the back. And then maybe I'm inadvertently creating one that's actually all the way around. So I have extra flowers and I have extra space, so I'm gonna put a couple more of these in. Ooh, and I got 1 more dahlia. Oh, so that dahlia, if I just cut it short, could actually be my 3rd one over here. So now it's nice and balanced. So that's what we're doing. So now this is getting nice and full. I really like it. I'm gonna use this more of a specimen plant with these seed heads. I'm gonna stick it right in the middle, kind of poking out the top. And I'm gonna do the same with these little fluttery cosmos right here with this purple sage, and I'll spin it around just a second so you can see it. And then my last statement plant or stem is this oregano. And I'm gonna kind of just put this oregano right in there to offset that and give it some texture. So I also have a couple of clippings from one of our grapevines, and I just like them because they kind of drape and they trail a little bit, and they make a bouquet either wider or, you know, just more interesting with the foliage. But anything that has a woody stem, and that includes hydrangea, lilacs, anything that you would cut that is more like a shrub, it has to be treated differently than a soft stemmed flower. And so basically what you're gonna do, if you had a cutting board, you can just literally take and just smash it with a hammer or smash it with your rolling pin, something really easy. But if you don't, and you just need to do it, then you can just take your scissors, and what you want to do is just kind of crush up and mangle that stem basically, so that the most water possible can go into the stem. Otherwise, that's why if you've ever cut lilacs or you've ever cut hydrangeas and put them in a vase, they immediately wilt, is because they needed a fresh cut and you needed to smash that stem. Lilacs will actually last for several days. They still don't last forever, but if you keep pulling them out and cutting the stem and smashing them again every few days, it'll last longer. The same goes with this. So basically I'm gonna just poke that in there to make this a little bit wider and have this little drapey effect. And here is the garden bouquet. Now you can see that this side is more of a front look. It, you know, it has this nice waterfall down. And this side, I filled it in because I am gonna put it in the middle of a table, but this has a completely different look on this side. So just have fun with it, honestly. So the next one we're gonna do is the one with the store-bought flowers. And these, obviously, you know, they're usually color-coded at the stores. There's all sorts of variety, and they can be really fun. And you're gonna basically use the same principles. I'll also scissors. So we wanna start with our more stable flowers, which in this case is mums. And again, I'm gonna cut it a little bit long. I'm gonna bring it over here and I'm gonna go, okay, yeah, that's about how long I want it. We'll start with that. So I'm gonna stick that in here, and I'm just gonna cut a couple of these off. And again, remember odd numbers, and I'm gonna space these out a little bit. And once I start working with them, I'm gonna keep pulling them around and making them, you know, work a certain way. So I got 3 of those in here. I also have some white mums or kind of chartreuse centers. And these are more on a clump. So I'm just gonna cut a little bunch of them. And I can space these out in here. And we got a little bud, so those are always interesting and make it look fun. So I'm really just like plopping these in for right now, just to get an idea. These are too short, they're getting dropped, so I'll poke them in afterwards. So next set of flowers I'm gonna look at is, I'm gonna do something like cute in the center. So we have these, oh my gosh, what are these called?
Snapdragons.
Snapdragons, I was gonna say dragonflies. They're not dragonflies. We're gonna have to pull off a few because it doesn't matter, you know, if they're down in the water. I'm gonna stick one of those right about there, and I cut it too short. Sadly, I just wasted that one. So I'm gonna have to do it again and make that longer. Otherwise, it just kind of gets lost otherwise. So we'll do that. And then we got these fun little furry ones that remind me of like little animal feet. I don't know why I think of them as like little kangaroos.
Kangaroo feet.
Oh, they are? That's what I thought they were. They're so cute. So I'm gonna do a little bunch of those. I'm actually gonna do 5 of these because they are thin. And I like the color of them. The texture of them is really good. We're gonna do that. And now we can do filler. So now that we have this basic form, we can come in and grab some of the filler that we bought. This I'm not gonna go through really and get all of those off because it's just, I'm not gonna do it. So I have a little clump of them. I'm gonna stick that little clump there. I'm gonna grab another clump. And this one I'm doing more of as a round bouquet. So I'm gonna do 3 of that. So there's one from every angle. And we're gonna go underneath there so it drops down a little bit. And then we can spin it and go, do we like this? Is this what we're going for? Some of the flowers that were shorter need to be moved to the outside so that they don't get lost. And so in that, it makes a hole right there. And so what I'm gonna do is I have one last flower that I'm gonna try out. I'm not sure that it's gonna fit in this bouquet, but it might. It's a little African lily. I'm gonna stick that in there. Oh yeah, I like that. So we'll do one more of those. A little bit smaller one. Put that on this side by the handle. And this is obviously more of the back. And this is where you can like fiddle things a little bit and go, okay, I want this, pull it a little, and with that tape, it holds it. And so this is more the front. And so this would go maybe in a bathroom or a dresser, so that the back is towards the back. So that is that one. Now we're going to do a tall bouquet with the same flowers. Same principles now, but the difference now is that we could use a whole stem. And these I have already cut. The thing to remember is that these all need a fresh cut when you get them from the store. Even if they're the right length, make sure and just cut, even if you have to just cut like a 1/2 inch off. So we're gonna test that in there. I would like this one to be a little bit taller, so I'm gonna put that right in the middle. I'm going to bring out some of these. These are really ugly little leaves, so I'm gonna take those off. That's good. So these are exactly the same height, which I don't want. So I'm gonna shorten that one a little bit. Yeah, and so then it can go to the front, but now it's the same height as these. So I don't want that. So I'm gonna pull that out completely. So there we go, I like that. And we can bring in these. Now these have a lot of foliage, so we can just get rid of those on a couple of them. Some of them we're gonna leave because it'll be a bit of a filler. So this one I'm gonna put right about there, except that I made them the same height. So I'm gonna cut a little bit of that one off, and I'll leave another one taller. My dog has just come into the room to announce things that he needs, which I will tell him he doesn't. No, stop. You're fine. He thinks that it's maybe because we're standing in the kitchen, he thinks, oh, maybe it's early dinner. Is it early dinner? Oh, I don't think so, Jackie. He may be persistent, so I may have to stop the video, feed him, and then come back to it. So now obviously this bouquet is completely taking on a different, feel altogether from the rest of them, which were more romantic and drapey, and we're not going to be using something like this, so it's going to look completely different. I'm going to grab one of these snapdragons and stick it right in the front because I really like those. They're super cute. I'm going to do another one on the back. Now, because of this space and where I'm thinking I want this to be more of a circular bouquet so that it looks really nice from every side. So I need to keep turning that and move that one over to the center. No, stop.
Pause, intermission.
Yes. So the dog has been dealt with. He got to go outside and got a little food, so he'll be quiet now. So anyway, now I've got these, which are these cool kind of specimen spikes. You could use sticks in this situation. You could use things that you just have from other bouquets that you've saved. Like I saw one time we got these sticks that had like seed pods glued on top of them, and that looked really cool in bouquets, and we just kind of kept drying them out and keeping them each time. So say you get to this kind of a situation where I cut these off and these went into a different bouquet. Don't cut this off short if you want it to be a tall bouquet. Just cut off this and then it's still a long stem. So we're gonna keep poking these in because they're so cool. And then I probably need one in the very front. We're gonna do this and make a couple of short ones. Go right in here in front. And this bouquet is pretty full. I don't know that, yeah, it needs a little bit of pizzazz around the bottom. So I have a little bit of this filler left. I'm gonna cut it pretty short because I just kind of want it to be a little spray at the bottom. And I'm gonna divide it in half and get rid of all the leaves and just kind of disguise it. Because there's a whole bunch of cut stems on this, but there isn't here, and I don't want to make these really short. And so I'm going to just make them, squish them together, and then once I poke them down in here really far, it'll just be this little spray right here. Same with the other side. And then we can see this from both sides because of where it is, and that makes it a little bit wider and balanced on the bottom. And of course we still have some like extra flowers, but like this one has 2 flowers on it, so I'm not gonna worry about that. And voila, we've got 2 bouquets from store-bought flowers, and we have 2 bouquets from garden flowers. We hope this helps. Please ask us questions. Please share your photos of bouquets that you make. We're super excited about all of this, and let us know how it goes. Thank you.